April, good to see you. By popular demand, people want to know, can you retire comfortably on $4,000 a month? Median monthly income for retirees is just over $4,100 a month, according to the Motley Fool. So when someone comes into your office, April, and says, hey, is $4,000 a month enough for me to retire? What do you tell them?
It makes me think of the old commercials where everybody was walking around with a giant number on their shoulder and
Right.
everybody's number was different.
Yep.
And that's what this really all boils down to is I know I have a lot of people that I work with who are very comfortable on $4,000 a
Hmm.
month. Depends on a myriad of factors, including individualized factors and making sure that we're using good assumptions. We have
Right.
to look back at what the spending history looks like, what your retirement is going to look like as far as additional expenses might be when you have more time on your hands, probably filling that with some additional spending like travel, for example, maybe
Hmm.
more golf. So really getting very granular with all of those things at an
Right.
individual level, but it can absolutely be done and for a lot of people very comfortably.
Right. As much as we wish there were one number we could all work toward, it's not how it works. So, just to throw one more stat at you, according to Michael Ryan Money, about 16% of retirees fall into the $4,000 to $7,000 monthly spending range. So, what expenses should retirees factor in when deciding if that income will work?
Well, we start with the assumption of, which should be a very educated assumption, of what the spending need is. And then from there, we really have to build in inflationary measures. Even if you don't plan to take additional income on an annual basis during retirement, projecting it in that manner can really give you a good cushion, good buffer to make sure that 10, 15, 20 years down the road that you've adequately accounted for the fact that inevitably the cost of living is going to go up.
Right.
So running those projections out and really stress testing the portfolio and the income strategy is how we address that.
Mhm. And so, how do your income sources like Social Security, pensions, or investments factor into that question?
Well, we have seen a major shift and for quite some time now for from defined benefit plans to defined
Mhm.
contribution plans. So the
Mhm.
onus has really been shifting from the employer to the employee,
Right.
and we're seeing fewer and fewer pensions. But there are a lot of options that come along with those guaranteed income sources of Social Security, of pension, and understanding the survivorship mechanisms that are involved there, the pros and cons of filing earlier or later,
Mhm.
filing different survivorship strategies when it comes
Mhm.
to a pension, and then backing into how do those decisions impact the income that you're going to need to take from your investment accounts, and what are the tax consequences of
Right.
those various sources, both Social Security and pension, and from an investment aspect. Are these all
Mhm.
dollars that have been tax deferred and are now fully taxable, or are there some tax efficient sources that can also be tapped, and really making sure that all of those pieces of the puzzle are going to fit together? That can really have an impact on what your withdrawal rate is and the sustainability of your retirement savings as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm. And you mentioned inflation. So, what role do inflation and longevity play in answering this question? And then, how do we protect ourselves against that risk and as we hope for a long and happy retirement?
Well, when I talk about stress testing, what I mean is having a very specific calculation, which is what we help our clients do. We have a very specific way that we calculate and illustrate a scenario of multiple scenarios where we're looking at accounting for inflation. Let's say, for example, what might be $4,000 need today, not so far into the future, could rapidly become a six or seven or $8,000 a month income need. So, what is the sustainability of that plan? Then looking at from a longevity perspective, the fact that typically one spouse is going to live longer than the other. What are the life insurance sources to provide for that surviving spouse? What are the anticipated drops of income, whether
Mhm.
it's Social Security, pension, a combination of both, that are inevitably going to happen? Usually we see about a 25% decrease on average for the surviving spouse from those income sources. Sometimes it can be more like 30. So really knowing where those parameters are so that we can back into it very comfortably,
Right.
knowing that we've planned for the worst and hoped for the best and
Right.
not the other way around.
Mhm. Everybody's number is going to be unique, as you mentioned in that commercial. And the only way to get there is to sit down with somebody who has this kind of experience like you do, April, to crunch the numbers, do the math, and then, as you said, stress test it. So if somebody would like to do that with you, how can they get a hold of you?
You can reach out to us 24 hours a day on our website at 𝘃𝗏𝑒retirementfamily.com or give either of our offices a call, and we're happy to help.
Great. April, thank you.
Thank you, Erin.